No, it's not. Anyway, 10,000 hit and split here in Colonial. Got a sign up split for that. Hoping the best for Tyler Connor, was injured yesterday at Colonial. Jonathan, did you hear any updates on that?
No, I did. I saw that in passing. I don't know any of the details.
Yeah.
I did see that it was
I know they had canceled part of their day, and obviously we have concern for everybody in this game, whether they're here or there or anywhere. 2 at Monmouth, 3 at Saratoga, cross country Big Five. It'll culminate with the Amsterdam, which I think can have a really fun race. There's so much talk of the as there should be of the 3-year-olds going long. It's a pretty fun group out there of 3-year-olds going short as well. So looking for the Amsterdam, a traditional prep for the Alan Jerkins run on Travers Day. And we have, of course, the New York State Pavilion, Taste of New York. Head on over, check that out. Located near Gate A. A lot of terrific stuff over there. So take a few minutes, check that out. If you're wandering around, always good to stop by. It's near Gate A in the family zone. For me, Saratoga is a family zone. I didn't have to worry about going to camp when my family moved to Saratoga because I had camp Saratoga Racetrack. Blanket giveaway today, so you're here. You know about it. Can you show this tomorrow too, Eddie, please? That's what I get for talking to Jonathan while you were trying to talk to me. This is on me, not on you. And last but not least, well, who could be fooled? Let's see. We are on 1 to 4 to FS2. Now, we mentioned that there are 5 Fridays to meet where there's going to be disruptions, and you can always catch the action on YouTube. We hope that we're on from 4 to 4:30 to 5, but my guess is 4 to 6:30 to be safe. If you want, stick to YouTube. It's so easy, even Jonathan and I can do it.
I spent all last night installing some new TVs for my in-laws, making sure their YouTube was locked and loaded.
Really?
So,
I figured that Austin did that, your son.
no, he's good. No, he's good, but at my house, my wife handles certain things. I handle the electronics.
Well, your wife handles you.
Yeah, that is
and
what
you do all the things she tells you to do.
It's 100% accurate.
I'm guessing that's pretty much how it works. Anyhow, race number 1. I guess the thing about race number 1 are the firsters. And you've got 2 first-time stars for Bill Mott, and one's got Junior, and the usual thinking is we go to the one with Junior riding that. But that didn't really work out in Saratoga, right, on Belmont Stakes Week. The other one won. They're not going to have to be that good to win this race, I'll tell you that. But unless one of the 2 goes off at a super short price, I'm wondering how good that horse is. Is that fair?
Yeah, and it was one of those situations where you're kind of guessing. We got to remember, I know Bill Mott wins a lot of races. He's got some really good young horses, but he doesn't win that much first time out. Right, throughout his career, 9%, and for a trainer who's 20% overall lifetime, 9%.
Well, Bill Mott is one of the reasons for Bill's success, as funny as it may sound, is he's not afraid to lose. Dale Roman's another guy not afraid to lose. These guys will run their horses. They're not looking at their win percentages. They have their eye on the prize, and I think in a lot of ways that's a good thing. So the fact that Bill will often win a lower percentage of the trainers doesn't mean, and Dale, you could say it about a lot of guys, doesn't mean they're bad trainers. Just means they're not as concerned, with where they're running. Intimately. You've taken the one Miss Impulsive, who feels like the speed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm drawing a line through that turf race, except for the first part of it, which, like to your point, there's some
super
speed
live
there.
race too.
Right. I just, that dirt race was all right. I mean, the figure came back okay. There hadn't been a whole lot of horses that do a lot out of that, but I thought it was good enough to win, especially if these other horses, these other firsters don't show up. The other ones that have run, you got to get real creative, and you can, but you got to get creative to find these other horses.
No, I have absolutely no argument against this horse. I don't know. I kind of want to see it again. It's just a little bit of a weird trajectory, right? She runs well enough to win, and she ends up in a turf race. Now, maybe this race didn't come up, and it may have been a case for Amelia to say, I've got her ready to run. This race isn't filling, and so I'm going to try a turf race that does fill and check that box and move on, which I can't knock. She was 3-1 last time. So it may have ultimately turned out to be the wrong spot, but you can't knock a trainer that's running in a race at 3-1, and obviously Amelia has started out like gangbusters and won a lot of races, and she's going to win a lot more. I agree. She's the horse to beat. I'm going to go with the barn that's done some good work here last year and this year. Mel Giddings trying the dirt for the first time. It's really, for me, just a different face in a race where I don't totally love the one. The 2 and 3 aren't impossible. They've had chances. I don't know about the firsters. And this barn has been pretty smart up here over the last couple of years, so I'm going to hope they're smart here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see where you're coming from. Sometimes you have to protect yourself from there's certain things that you learn. I can't see them on paper. and then you can then see them on paper.
This horse is a ridiculous bet on paper.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. I'm not going to sit here and defend this horse. It's more about the way the barn does and the stranger in a race where I'm looking for a stranger, which in a lot of ways is the theme for me in race number 2. Because as we start race number 2, and I don't know if you have this horse anywhere, the bees are getting annoying. You have the horse second. I have her nowhere. We'll start out with Lady Arwinland last time. Now, she won a non-winners of 3 lifetime, so she now has to exit the conditional claiming races to run in here. And, bless you.
Thank you.
And it's the quietest sneeze I've ever heard.
That was good, huh?
My general feeling in this race was I don't want any of them. Miss Lau. She's been horrible since being claimed from Dennis Laumann, and she was claimed by Sandy Goldfarb and Brad Cox, who, in my opinion, have been the most dangerous claiming team in New York over the last year plus. Lady Arwen, she didn't run badly last time. Really? I mean, look at this field coming together like this. Spring Magic. I don't know. Her last race was not good, and I don't really have much confidence in her. We'll see how that barn, if they can heat up a little bit. Killy Start was terrible last time. Altered Shot. I think she's a little dangerous, but she's coming out of a softer bunch, even though the winner came back to beat a theoretically tougher field. And Echo and Eternity drops down in here. I think if you go 2, 3, 4 back, they're good enough to win. She was bad last time, too, but at least she'll be a slightly better price.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this race was pretty tough. A lot of these horses look very similar. I ended up landing on the 4, Spring Magic. I thought she ran pretty well last time, considering the fact the pace was pretty quick. She was right there in the mix. You know, she's second off of a little short break, nothing crazy. She ran May 16th prior to that. I just, in this field full of a bunch of them that I thought could win, I ended up with Spring Magic.
My problem with her a little bit is that she's, also, first of all, she's the morning line favorite, but also she doesn't win. You know, she's in an awful lot of races. Now, to be fair, she's also been in 4 straight races where she's been huge prices. But even before that, you know, her one win is at 45 cents to the dollar.
Yeah.
That worries me a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what happens in here. I mean, listen, I don't think there's a single horse in this race without a chance to win. I just find flaws in so many of them, and I found sort of less flaws in a horse in Echo and Eternity, who I know had recent form that can get her home in here.
No, I mean, look, and she, you know, her race back in March could certainly win this one. You know, where she won. She's drawn down on the inside. She's got enough tactical speed. Ricardo is pretty good from the gate. He's good at getting his position moving forward. You know, and I think he learned that spending all those winters at Oaklawn, riding there and on the dirt constantly. If you start taking horses back on the dirt at Oaklawn, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Ricardo is not a rider that's looking to rate horses, and it's one of the things that I like about him. But I got to tell you something. There's a lot of great riders in that room. People should appreciate. I mean, the thing about Irad is you say, you know, it doesn't last forever. The guy rides hard and great all the time. He is putting on a clinic out there.
Yeah.
His ride on Chancellor McPatrick, his ride and the horse the race before it,
Proctor's not ledge, but
I know,
street.
Proctor Street.
Yep.
I mean, he is riding the very best against the very best riders in the world, the best jocks room you can find, and he is not winning because he's riding 3 to 5s and getting lucky. He is absolutely riding lights out.
I agree, and he's pulling away a little bit. I know it's a long summer.
It's a long summer, and a lot of things can happen. And listen, you know, and even if you're, you know, every rider. But the thing about Irad is I don't feel like I've ever seen him go through a prolonged race where I'm going, boy, Irad just can't figure out. And you know, somebody said to me yesterday, I don't think Flavien Prat's riding as well as last year. I said, I think that is the most result-oriented nonsense I've heard in a long time. I think Flavien's riding really well. He's just not on the horses that are winning. I don't want to point to rides and go, gee, Flavien blew that. I felt like at first that the horse, Tom's horse in the second race yesterday, it's not Flavien's horse fault, just like it wasn't Kendrick's. That horse got left twice in a row.
Yeah,
and that's what sealed the deal for both of those guys.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times that's racing. People become too results-oriented. You got to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Believe in the process.
Right, and this is the idea. Now, Flavien Prat's riding a funny horse in here, and I decided I like going back to the old stake races, and I wanted to show you a huge, I think, 104 buyer win by Rocco Roja in the Athenia. And she is the dam of the number 1 Sharon Horizons in this race. Her next race, I don't know if you remember. I remember her next race because I was there. She lost by a nose to Miss Temple City, that extremely good turf miler that Graham had in the Matriarch.
Yes.
That was the weekend that Annals won the Hollywood Derby. I was out there, and Cherie was out there. And Rocco Roa won that. Now, she has not been a great producer. I think a conversation that might be missed by some people. One thing, and you've noticed it, but maybe you haven't thought about it as much, we're running a lot more $100,000 maiden claiming races. And they're, for the most part, and this is a smaller field, but we have a very interesting race, I think, on Wednesday or Sunday. Big fields entered, big fields entered in it because $100,000 is a big number for people to claim. So it's a race where people can run horses where they don't feel they can win maiden special weights. It's kind of like a restricted race in a way, and they can offer them up. She has value, a Wooten Bastet and a grade stakes winning dam. But is somebody really going to dip in for $100,000? As we moved on to race 3, guys, I'm sorry. Well, we know that. We showed a replay. I don't want this horse on top. I've got her second. You've got her fourth.
Yeah, it's just not very confident for a homebred. You would think that if Chad thought the horse could run, he's gonna give the horse
Having
one
said
chance.
that, how much does she have to be able to run to beat this field?
No, I agree with that. But it's also you'd imagine that Peter still owns the mare, so it's an important part of that business model, that business structure. I just felt like if this one could run, Chad wouldn't even take a chance of letting someone get really cute.
No, I don't disagree, but the problem is the horse doesn't have to be that good and can win a race like this. So I'm not as strong as you, but I agree with your philosophy. I wonder how good this race is. And talk about the horse that you have picked on top. I have a replay for her going back to Keeneland in April, 2 back when she ran third.
That was it. I mean, when you look at maiden races, in my opinion, when it comes to Saratoga and Keeneland, to me those are some of the best ones you'll see. And I thought this horse ran pretty well. She was involved early. She has some tactical speed, which is always nice to see. She's drawn well in here. I guess you could make the same argument. It's a gun runner filly, a 3-year-old gun runner filly that George is dangling. But like you said, I don't think there's a lot of people cutting in line to claim horses for $100,000.
I need to look this one up for myself. But I believe Eric Cancel rides fairly frequently for George up here. Maybe you can look it up. I believe that Eric Cancel riding for George in Saratoga over the last 5 years is 1 for 50.
Really?
You want to look that one up
while you talk?
Babbling on here?
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned Keeneland. Congratulations to our friend Gabby Gadet, who is taking over as the Director of Communications at Keeneland. Miss seeing her on TV, but she'll be doing the meets with Scott still, which is good because I like to tease them while they're on the air, and wish Gabby the best of luck. She's very, very popular, certainly everywhere, but around here as well, and with me. You see anything?
1 for 49.
Okay. Maybe a horse got passed in the last couple days. We got past a date. 1 for 49. Just thought that was a little bit interesting, and it's one of the reasons I lowered this horse. I think Bourbon Milk Punch would be dangerous. If Amelia wasn't in this race, I would like the 5 a lot here. But she was on a gold rail last time. The second horse came back and ran lousy yesterday, and that was against it. And I think she needs the lead to win. And don't you think with Amelia in here, it's going to be very hard to get the lead?
I would think so. And then, look, George doesn't, with the 6.
She's not as fast as this horse, I don't think. Do you?
Not as fast as this. No, actually.
Eric's not going to send it.
Yeah. Her race 2 back at Keeneland, that pace was honest enough.
Okay.
But to your point, no, I don't.
She's the horse to beat. I have no argument with that. And David's got her 4-1. I think she's going to be favored in here.
Yeah.
If not Chad.
It's a sneaky claim for Horatio too, because it's a Glen Hill farm homebred, so there's some pedigree there. So if you can get a couple of wins out of, there's some value with a horse like this.
Yeah, I've given up on this horse. I tried her last time. She's not. I would have picked her, like I said, if she was there. I don't love Ashes and Diamonds. I didn't like anybody else. I didn't know what to do. I don't know. Her one turf race was terrible. Then again, so was the one turf race for Kenny McPeek's yesterday, and that horse almost won.
But they were, I think to that point and to this one is they took place in their first career start, so maybe they were just figuring it out. So maybe maybe it wasn't the grass, it was the debut that got them.
And this is a $65,000 yearling purchase that they're running. They're running for $100,000. They're not dying to get rid of this horse. Listen, I wouldn't even knock somebody for taking Dave Donk's horse near Bedford the Brave. I mean, there's a smidgen of turf pedigree, and Omaha Beach is certainly turf. And in this race, I wouldn't discount the possibility of something weird happening.
Yeah, no, it's another wide open one.
Especially if you're right that the one's not good. And we'll see what happens in race number 3. I think you have to try to look at these races, and sometimes they don't look that interesting on the surface, but they're more interesting. Now, I'm not more interesting in this race, and I don't think either are you, as I'm not trying to beat the speed who's the king.
Yeah.
That's race 4.
Okay, yeah, I was
Eddie.
about to say. I was like, dang,
How
I
you
picked
doing,
the
Eddie?
6.
You all right?
He's still on the tarmac.
Really? You're still on the tarmac at LaGuardia? It's a little communications misproblems?
I was nervous because I messed up like a couple weeks ago. I thought I gave the wrong horse. But
By the way, somebody gave us some Bruins pucks yesterday. We appreciate that. I think we have to make sure that Migliori takes one home, don't you
he's
think?
happy about it. Yeah.
Richie's got it. Was he mad about the Bruin pucks?
Yeah, he didn't like
yeah,
it.
Gee, I'm shocked. That's just like what an upset that was. We got to make sure wherever he's sitting, you're putting one plop down. You're on that. Just get a couple put there.
Put 'em right in front
Maybe
of
a
him.
picture of Bobby Orr or something. Anyway. Richie, a very, very, very big Ranger fan. We shouldn't be teasing him. I'm not trying to. This horse is supposed to go to the front with Irad. I know he's a big favorite. I'm not against.
Yeah, you just got too many races that are just better than what these other horses have run, and you'd like to think that even with the going on the little extra distance, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a huge problem for him. I know he hasn't run all that well going 9 furlongs, but his style, he looks like he's going to be comfortable out in the front.
Because the other thing is, you've got the 4 now. If True Connections is 9-2, maybe I should reverse my position. I kind of thought he'd be the second choice near. David's always right. I'm always wrong, and he's got this horse the 4th choice, so he's rarely wrong. I know. Listen, Brad and Sandy have had great success together, and clearly this horse improved last time off the claim. Second off a claim off a win on dirt, 1 for 10. For Brad Cox. I was surprised to see that. Nairo for 5, 3 hitting the board. I don't know. I feel like last time was the time, and I'm not ready to anoint this horse as that much improved.
You said it a couple races back that there hasn't been too many more of a potent combination between Brad Cox and Sandy Goldfarb. I just, it's a situation where it felt as if, I don't know if that was a private purchase. Do you see it as a claim?
It was a trainer change. I think Sandy had this horse with Wayne Potts. He has horse with Wayne.
Look, when Brad gets a horse that, has his last running line, aggressive on the front end, that's always dangerous because Brad will be dangerous. I mean, this horse could be potentially winging it on the front end.
Manny's not afraid to go.
No.
Manny gave a very good ride to Right to Win the last race yesterday, kind of overshadowed by what's going on here because that's a tough horse to ride. Manny's quietly riding really well. Everybody's right now riding in the shadow of Irad, including even his brother, who's having a tremendous meet, and even he's like 6 or 7 behind him or something, and he's having the kind of meet that's won a lot of meets up here. I don't want to discount the 6. I'm so in love with. We have 3rd in here. Cantermachi, those horses have been running for him off the claim. This one for Gumster Stable, I didn't think this horse was totally ridiculous here.
No, and I think when horses run well enough going 9 furlongs, and they're trying it here again, I think you got to give them extra consideration because, we're not using the chute all that often, and so I think sometimes horses get jammed into 9 furlong races where they don't necessarily want to go that far. So if you could find someone who likes it or at least doesn't hate it, I think there's some value there at times.
I'm hoping that Ultimate Strike wakes up a little bit for Norm Cassie. Big drop down, second off the claim. 50% drops. He does not have great numbers. He drops for a reason. He is 1 for 2, second off a claim, making a 50% drop, but that's not a stat. That's just a number. Race number 5. Race number 5 was the bet I was most excited to make today, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, Aunt Nona won't be running. So I scratch into the horse you have on top, Parade King Ring, and we'll go back a long, long way. 2 years ago when this horse debuted at Saratoga and ran her best race. And she never really went anywhere after this race, right?
No, but her turf sprints are okay.
Yep.
And, her synthetic race earlier this year was okay. She comes in off a voided claim, but look, I don't really let that bother me too much. The scrutiny that these horses are under to come back to the races after a voided claim, like if they're running.
I don't have a problem with that. My problem is that Tony gave up on this horse. Tony dumped this horse in for $30,000, and he didn't just dump the horse in for $30,000. And it's hard not to believe this was strategic. He dumped this horse right before turf racing was about to begin in New York. So he kind of said, take her off my hands. I've been paying the bills with her while there's been no turf racing, and now I'm going to run her. So that worries me a little bit. I scratched into this horse. I thought about switching. I didn't want to switch to Silver Pearls or New Issue. I didn't really love them. I do think they lost to a decent horse, a Bruce Levine horse last time, who should have been about 2 to 5 in there, who run very well in the first start. I think she's better than these, but that does worry me that Tony did that. Tony is a very smart guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point.
I don't have the answer. It just bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, I looked to see what the 5 New Issue. I wanted to kind of get creative there with Flavian sticking and Linda.
That was a slow pace.
The pace was slow. And the other thing I looked up is how often Linda claims first time out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious how she's done it 15 times. She's 3 for 15. So not the biggest sample size, but she can win with these horses that I'm assuming she's looking at them in the paddock and watching them breeze in the morning and waiting for them to get entered.
She's whatever stone there is, she's turning it over.
Yeah.
You can make no mistake. Linda Rice doesn't win by accident. And I agree. No, I think the horse is dangerous in here. I guess it kind of does depend on the 3. I think if the 3 runs one of her her normal race, she's the horse to beat in here. But if she doesn't, I'm not gonna. You really want to take a big stand against somebody in here? I guess Katerina Rostova is a little tough to make, but other than that, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Even Hidden Agenda showed speed first time out in the turf. Do you really want to discount her as getting a piece of this, especially if the 3 doesn't show up? We will take a break. The late pick 5 after these messages.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
We're back. Welcome back to Talking Horses. Jonathan Kinchin and Andy Serling. And thought just occurred to me, and I'm probably wrong on this. Is this the first scheduled race out of the Wilton Chute this meet? We did not having the first 2 weeks. Can you remember one the last 2 days?
Do you know that if someone asked me this question, I would text you?
Yes. Well, I'm asking you, buddy.
I have no idea.
But it feels like it may be. Cause do you remember a mile race the last couple? I mean, it's hard to remember, last night, much less yesterday afternoon.
It's funny because my brain keeps going back to the previous years where we ran the Wilton here, but we ran it downstate this time, so I don't know.
I think this might be the first scheduled mile race, and let's take a look at Peak, who I put on top optimistically in here, and they're really bugging me out with that camera flying around the meadows. I'm going to say I don't trust Peak. It was a big drop down for Linda Rice. I do trust Robbie Falcone, who has very good numbers off the claim. But I thought this horse was a little timidly, I don't want to be timid, no, jockeys aren't. This horse could have been a little more forward in this race. I was surprised they didn't try to get more in the game last time, and I'm not saying he was going to win, but I didn't love the trip, the decision on the way, the tactics.
Yeah, I mean, he's one that I if the race was at 9 furlongs, I would have been a little bit more excited because I think he actually wants to go a little bit longer. You look through his past performance; he's got a bunch of 9s in there, but he's got a 1.5 mile race in there that Rusty Arnold tried him in. So I think that longer is better. I worry that the mile might be a little sharp.
I guess that's fair. I never worry about less distance. I worry about more distance. I feel like less distance is good. We'll see. I mean, you see David's line. He's got him favored. He's all over the board. I don't blame him. This is a very, very tricky race to read. I have one opinion. You and I are going to be on a different page here. I don't like the horse you picked.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We talked about it on the production call for tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
When horses come from other places and have fast numbers, they're often people don't believe them. And the best thing you can do is to just look at how horses have run out of that to understand if the figure was too high or too low. I thought some of his races at Finger Lakes and at Penn were actually okay, specifically those 2 wins. And I was just hopeful that we would kind of surprise him a little bit. He'll be ignored because it's a Finger Lakes horse or, other than Saratoga horse. And I thought he would present some value.
Yeah, I hear you. And listen, he's 9-2 morning line. I get it. The problem I have is I don't believe in Penn form. Penn form rarely gets repeated here. A lot of Finger Lakes form doesn't always get repeated here. And I think that horse tomorrow, you brought up on the call today, there's a sprinter in I think 5th or 6th or 7th, whatever, 8th race. That's actually a fun race of no names, but a fun race. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just not it's on the big show and people won't recognize it's not Sovereignty. That's a very interesting race, and I agree with that horse's race. The 86 Buyer, you'll see it tomorrow. That race was fast.
Yeah, it was.
You know, the problem I have is this horse was losing $10,000 claiming races at Tampa not long ago, and now runs this big race at 1-2 at Finger Lakes. He's going to wire this field at my expense. And you know what? He may very well do it because he is the speed in this race. I don't think that Hero Status is going to outrun him early. Where do you stand on Hero Status? We both have him third. Another horse who's dropping for Norm.
Yeah, he's just hard to trust. It's just lots of layoffs, lots of breaks, lots of stops and starts, lots of trainer changes.
Lots of better horses too, though.
Yeah, I mean that race at Del Mar would win would win a stake, you know, here. So we'll see. I mean, I know that Flying P and you know Jay was adamant about bringing a bunch of horses up here to take a lot of shots. He doesn't
Bring as
typically-
many horses as you want up here at Saratoga, man.
Yeah.
It's winning up here is hard
I know.
for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I worry he's going to be a little bit overbet, and I don't trust him. That would be the biggest concern.
I don't trust them all. I'm going to throw in JJ's Joker. I'm not letting a horse at a price win off the claim for Ilke. Horses for Ilke Cantermachi are running, and I am not going to get out of the way of that. That horse is on my tickets. I'm hoping Unbridled Bomber runs well. He's a horse I have a great affinity for as he drops down. I ran into his former trainer, Jimmy Ryerson, last night. We were talking about him, and a horse that we really, really like. And he's one race away from, you know, running against much better horses. He's a very talented horse. I just wonder if he's not as good as he once was, and he has no speed.
Yeah, I'd like for him to break a little bit better, but, you know, we'll
Jimmy
see.
would have liked him to do that a lot in his career, actually. This is one of David Aragona's favorite horses, and David's hooked me on him, too. I think he's a super cool horse. We'll see what he does. The sixth race, I think the sixth race is, I mean, you look at the line here, is a wide, wide open race starting up this pick 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sixth race. Wide open, yes. On to the 7th.
Now, the good thing about the 7th being placed where it is, if you're playing the pick 5, is that you can see the betting in the doubles. But I think we both think that Red Velvet, who's a half to Rubelinda, who is probably, I believe that Rubelinda is the first Frankel to win in America. I could be wrong, but I think she is a horse that Chad Brown trained, though she wanted a little less distance. This is probably the one of the two Chads that's more likely to be good and is the morning line favorite.
I loved Rubelinda. Sometimes I find myself falling in love with certain offspring just because I love the dam so much. I thought she was really cool, and she had
She's
an
one of
unbelievable.
4 from the dam that won. It's not just her. She's
Yeah,
done
no,
phenomenal.
right. This just feels like one of those types for Chad that's well meant. It's going to run well, and is going to be in the conversation at the end of the meet for running in some stake races.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, obviously you're trying to get to the P.D. Johnson with anticipation. I totally agree. And I think this is the first turf router we've seen, 2-year-old we've seen from Chad. I can't remember if we run a turf sprinter, but I think it's the first turf router we've seen
Not had
from
a turf
him.
sprinter.
I agree. I'm not against that horse. I would have put her on top, but she's going to likely be the favorite in here, and I'm married to Pan Pan. I thought this horse ran a very interesting race first time out. The dam did win on the turf. She's a kitten's joy. Audible's an Into Mischief. There's turf pedigree in there. I thought this horse ran a kind of race that this was one I was waiting to bet back second time. I'm a fan of John Ortiz. I know he hasn't won yet this meet, but he's had great success up here in the past years. And if the 6 is good, this is going to beat this horse probably, but I have to bet her. I am committed to betting her.
When you said you kind of circled betting this one back, did you circle betting them back on the turf?
I circled betting her back. I assumed she'd probably run in the dirt, but she has a pedigree to handle the turf, so I'm willing to do it. Whether or not I have to bet her, lose money on her again a third time back on the dirt, that might be the case. But I thought she ran well in spots in that race, and she's one with experience, as is Mallorca, the number 4 horse, who you have 4th and I have nowhere. We'll show her finishing 2nd in her debut. I actually thought she ran okay in here.
I don't love turf sprinters stretching out like that. But the one way that I can digest it is if they're drawn inside, because I feel like if they were in a turf sprint, they got at least enough tactical ability to save and hold that position on the inside and end up getting a good trip. And if you're worried about them stretching out, what better way to solve that problem than by saving ground and getting cover so they're not rank? It's just, if she was drawn outside, I would not use her. I just think maybe drawn inside, she's in the 2 post. I think she could get a nice trip.
Stretching out with turf maidens, George Weaver's 3 for 42, 7%, $1.14, and he is not alone. That is a stat that among stats for trainers that they universally have lousy numbers on them. It's a very hard thing to do, as you're talking about.
Yeah, because you think about it, like what, how does one get to that situation where it's got to be a situation where they're giving them that first race as a learning experience, like you talked about earlier, like it came up on the calendar in the right spot. But usually, if you have a turf router, you start them in a turf route.
I agree. I agree. I mean, sometimes you do it because the race comes, you want to get a race under their belt. And you do see the 2-year-olds stretch out somewhat, and they are really wigging me out with that thing. There's not a ton of other turf pedigree. Like there's dribs and drabs of turf pedigree. Clearly, the 6 has the best turf pedigree of anybody, especially with the 1 scratching. Did the 1 scratch to make sure the 1A got in? I don't know. 2 other scratches. I always think of that. I always wonder about that.
Yeah, do that. Yeah,
I always think about that a little bit. If you can get the other half of the entry in, and you really rather run that horse, just some food for thought. Race number 8.
One other horse, just real quick. 2B.
Oh, yeah.
I have the 2, and it was meant to be the 2 and the 2B. The 2B, I think, is interesting. It's a not this time. Mm-hmm. It's a half to Red Carpet Ready, who was very, very good on the dirt.
But they always wanted to run her in the turf.
One
of my friends wanted to run her in the turf.
Could be something there.
I think that's fair. Not this time has been a terrific turf sire. I agree. And an entry going out for Todd, who's having a very good meet so far. I think he's second behind Chad now. It's 8 versus 9. Linda also winning a lot of races. Well, I'll say one thing about race number 8. I'm curious. I haven't looked at David's line. He's got Sheer Will at 5-2. Feels hard to make anybody a short price in this race, doesn't it? I mean, this race, don't you feel like anything could happen in here?
Yes. I would say that it's because the horse took a little, I don't know. I mean, it's Linda. Maybe that has a little bit to do with it.
Dropping down, first time on the dirt.
Yeah, I actually thought, and I would never argue with David.
I do, and he's right and I'm wrong, and I'm just.
I thought the 6 was kind of interesting, who took money for Al Stall at Churchill, especially some of the way the Churchill horses have been running. I thought that horse sneakily could be, favored. The Churchill horses are hard to judge, though. You don't know what kind of money they're going to bring.
I agree. The horse who finished, I think, 3rd was 2nd on the pace. I didn't know what to do with that race, to be honest with you. And you know how much respect I have for Al, and he's not bringing up horses just for fun. He's bringing up horses that are live, and he's done it for many years. And I agree. I just wish this horse had done some running, but it was a sloppy track. But then again, he drops down sharply after the race. It was an auction race, though, and I don't think we're running auction races for older horses up here. It's a restricted race last time, and I don't think we're running those up here for olders. I think it's just a 2-year-old thing. So he has no real choice. It's not like they paid a fortune for the horse. I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
Horse has speed. Well, we're going to blow off the replay for this race, Eddie. We don't really need that horse. Thank you, though. As far as Kara's Chianti, she's just a horse that I have to give one more chance to. And Mitch, I was using your horses yesterday. We're going to get one today. This horse's first race, I think you'll agree with me, can win this race.
Yep.
And I think if this horse just had her first race, she'd be the favorite. Now, the next time out, she ran in that, ridiculously tough maiden race. Last time out, she took a right turn coming out of the gate in the mud, and, I think she wanted to jump over the harness track to catch the early double. And at that point, Ricardo was just done. There was nothing he could do. It wasn't his fault. The horse just, acted badly. So I'm going to give her one more chance in this race. It may be just a horse that ran well first time that'll never run it again, but I'm in a race where I couldn't find anybody that I really wanted to pick, and I don't want to pick Sheer Will. You have second also, who's the morning line favorite. That's probably the horse to beat, but that horse never done any running. Yeah,
I mean, Kara's Chianti, like you said, she ran well enough first time out. She had excuses in her next 2 starts. She's certainly, especially with some class relief, she could be in the mix. There's no killers in here.
I agree, and that was sort of where I was going in there. I mean, listen, Circuit Court ran okay last time out, not totally impossible. Is Cote Fleury is a similar horse, the 5 to the 6, except the horse took no money last time, right?
Yep.
Listen, I looked at everybody in this race. What about Ray Handel's first-time star in the rail?
Yeah, you got Irad.
Ray's 11 for 63 with first-time stars in dirt sprints, maiden claimers. He's 3 for 17 with a $4 ROI.
In the last 5 years?
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? He's 11 for 150 in his career. So
really,
he went over for a very long time, and his 11 wins have come as of late. figured it out.
He's gotten to be a better trainer.
There he is.
Good man, Ray Handel. I just think this is a race. You know, you start out with some races. I mean, the 2-year-old race, maybe Chad Soares wins, maybe not. But between the 6th race and the 8th race, and listen, I understand the argument looking at this card. People, you know, if you want to one of the great things about racing is if you want to complain, we will give you something to complain about every single day. Probably multiple things. And I have no problem with somebody looks at this card and goes, it's Saratoga, this is a cheaper looking card. You sit in the racing secretary's office and you card 44 straight days of racing up here, and you find a way not to run cards like this. If you can do that, you should definitely apply and you should do the job, but you're not going to apply and you're not going to do it. You can sit on Twitter and you can criticize it if you want, and you may not be wrong, but really, is that helping? And the idea for, let me tell you, you know what's a good card for a horse player? When we win.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, owners, horse players are footing the bill in this game. And I got no problems. Owners want to complain. I got no problem. Horse players want to complain. But if you find some things to win in this card, and I think there's enough open races on this card that the opportunities exist. We want opportunity. Yes, we want to see sovereignty. I can't wait to see next week's Whitney. I know you can't, the big races. But we're horse players.
Yeah.
And you can be Rumpelstiltskin at the racetrack and spin gold out of straw. And as saying that, I think this is one of the better runnings of the Amsterdam we've had in quite a while. I thought this was a very, very good race. And as we show Macho Music winning 2 starts back in the Pate Mile, my question to you is, because this came up a little early in the call today, and I think it's an interesting question, is this horse the clear speed, or will one of Smokin' Wicked or Gunmetal be able to go after this horse?
They will be able to go after. Yes,
Will
for
they?
sure. I would say no. It's not gonna. They're not gonna let him. He's not gonna be 2 lengths clear. They're just gonna go out there. He's gonna break, pop away from the inside, find his position, and someone's gonna sit right off of him. I think it's gonna be the 3 Smokin' Wicked, which is why I landed there. I don't think there's gonna be some ding dong duel on the front end.
Yeah, everybody I respect likes Smokin' Wicked but me. Maybe I'm just trying to. You think Verifier? Verifier, I'm assuming, is the horse who beat him last time, is coming for the Alan Jerkins. The horse has run 3 times for. Is he 3 for 3 for Brad Cox? All his figures have been in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
He seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Smokin' Wicked, he's got good back races. You know, the Pate Mile didn't work out, sloppy racetrack around a mile. You know, he ran well enough in the Lafayette where he ran against Colloquial, who would be 1-9 in here.
But can he stalk a horse like Macho Music, put him away, and hold off closers? That's my concern with him.
I think he can. I understand the question, though. Most of his big races, he kind of ends up shaking loose. But, you know, these are 3-year-olds, too. We talk about that all the time when these older horses, the longer distance horses, they can improve and continue to be better and just take a step forward and be a little bit better. Macho Music, to me, I worry that on that day, don't tell my wife this because she hit the try on Pate Mile.
Well,
and she
we're
was
going to
very
talk
excited.
after the show. We always have a little conversation.
Yeah.
I let her know that when you misbehave, just so, you know.
I thought that was a little circumstantial, that win. On that sloppy racetrack. He just got loose out there, opened up, and no one ran him down. Matticat Road didn't really fire that day.
I don't really disagree with that. I think he's good, but, yeah, I want to see him do it at that level here. I have him fourth just like you do. I don't think there are horses in this race that can't win, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess Matt Goyle is a little bit hard to make in here, but his last race wasn't terrible. And I just think, you know, he can win. He's the 2-1 favorite, and I'm not ready to concede him as the speed. And obviously, as we show Garamond beating Cornucopian 2 back, he's going to need some pace to run at. Chad Brown's clearly decided he's not going to beat the good horses routing. I want to head towards the Alan Jerkins with him. Is he good enough to do it? It's kind of a very big fig. My Matoli hasn't run back to the 92 he got that day. That worries me a little bit, but he also hated the slop, it looked like, last time, and I think he's pretty damn good. I thought his Gotham was good, and if there's hitting in here, why can't he pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you feel like it was a slop. I was very disappointed how he ran.
Well,
at
he was
Monmouth.
awful.
Yeah. And I thought it was a little circumstantial beating Cornucopian, right? I mean, I don't think Cornucopian fired necessarily
Well,
that
you
day.
know, Cornucopian's a very good example of why trying to get ahead of yourself can blow up in your face with a good horse. But I'm not a trainer
Yeah.
or a stable manager.
Yeah, I mean, because
Or I
I
am.
think we were on the air together, I believe, that day with Cornucopian, and, like, I was shocked how bad he ran based on how well he ran in the Arkansas
Chad
Derby.
told me he was going to beat him. I didn't listen to him. He told me he was going to beat him before the race. He's
Yeah.
always liked this horse. I think he's very dangerous in here. You are obviously playing against, which I totally respect. Let's talk about your second choice, Gunmetal. And we're going to show him 2 races back when he won. What do you think went wrong last time?
I don't know. I mean, the racetrack did have a little moisture in it. That was a tough race. I mean, Patch Adams, I don't know. I mean, he was in a good spot early.
Not
For
really.
what- You didn't think so?
No, I watched it because we were talking about it on the call too, and I was watching and I was texting with Greg about it because he's going to be hosting with us later and saying he did hit the gate coming out and he broke a little slow and then he just took himself out of the race.
Yeah.
And it's so uncharacteristic for him, and it's uncharacteristic for Steve Asmussen's horses to underperform in big races. It feels like he's one of the more reliable. They may not win, but his horses show up in big races.
That's
and
funny. I did the exact same thing that you did.
What?
I literally did the same thing. I thought it was Steve Asmussen because it was Gunn.
Oh, it's
and
Brad.
It's Brad Cox.
You're right.
I just did that in my brain.
Okay.
Because of the gun runner thing, it's exactly
On the
what
other
happened.
hand, Brad Cox kind of sucks a lot of the time. Brad has said to me, and Brad and people like to take shots at Brad, which I don't agree with, but that's fine. I don't agree with anybody on anything. And Brad said, how come nobody seems to remember when I'm winning at 20% and I'm losing at 80%? Doesn't seem to affect people. But I agree with him on that notion.
I guess with Gunmetal is I felt like when I say he was in a good spot, I mean he was back closing into or in a position to close
Yeah,
into
I mean,
a
but
pace.
he's a forward horse.
Yeah.
And he may have, and also I think sometimes you can't really. Some horses can hit the gate and have issues out of the gate and they're fine. Who knows what had happened? Who knows how it affected him? And he ran so uncharacteristically badly, and then he's coming back in this race. But who is he? Is he his first race, his third race, or is he his second race or his fourth race? And does the water get a little deeper and he go,
I think he's going to get a great trip if he doesn't do what happened last time.
He should be
If he
stalking.
breaks and sits right there, he could sit in a great spot, or even potentially in behind Macho Music and Smoking Wicked. So I picked him second. I like him.
Today is a bit of I'm going to die on this hill with horses because there's a number of horses I'm playing that I have a thing for. I thought Gate to Wire actually ran extremely well in the Pate Mile. This horse got badly left, had significant trouble at the start, and because of the nature of what's going on at Churchill, it's very hard to tell what's going on in those mile races. He did not run particularly well last time. I won't disagree, but it was not a race you wanted to come from far back. Look at Chancellor McPatrick, how well he ran yesterday in a different situation. His race in the Swale, I'm sure it surprised Todd Pletcher, given where he ran before that. You going to tell me that race can't win here?
Yeah.
And then I actually thought he ran okay in the Fountain of Youth, and I don't think he wants to go that far. Today is the day for him. Today is the
I
day.
agree.
We either stay married or we get divorced. But I like this horse. I think he's good. And I do want to show a video of my buddy Lee's horse, T-Craft, because I love Lee dearly, and I do nothing but pick on him. I'll tell you something. This is his win 2 races back. And, boy, I thought Jose gave this horse a great ride in here at Lescano. I understood why I believe I think this is the race where Katie claimed. I don't blame her, but I thought this was a clean run through, a little contact, but nothing special. And I'll tell you something. He didn't run that badly last time. He didn't really. I thought he was way overmatched in the Woody. He wasn't.
I love a horse that will get out of a situation like that. I think it says something about the animal that when it gets a little rough, they're not gonna retreat. And that was a tough little window right there. And for him to fight through those horses.
Is he that slow? Is he that much slower than the good horses in here? I don't know.
Not that much slower. Just
He's
slower.
slower, but he's not that much. I mean,
Not
listen,
that
I think he has a chance to run well, and I'll be honest, I'm rooting for my buddy Lee to do pretty well in here because he's really got no other horse that can run right now. I mean, you got to feel really sorry for him up there. Race number 10. Race number 10. So what do you do in race number 10 with this horse, Dividend Recap? Finished but nose behind the debut. This was almost 2 years ago. Don't look at October, November. I think it was last year. It was 2 years ago. Now, one thing I will say about this horse, he came up the goldest of gold rails.
Yeah, just the long layoff.
excuse
Excuse me. The long layoff and then showing back up for a tag. I mean, you can look at it different ways. Like, it costs money to keep these horses wherever they are for 2 years, whether it's on the racetrack or on
Or
a
my
farm.
apartment.
Yeah, or on the Upper West Side at Andy's.
Right. A lot of
It's-
horses in my apartment building.
yeah.
You hear that neighing in the middle of the night, and you wonder what's going on.
But it's just too long of a layoff for me I just can't I
can't put
fully
the horse
wrap my
on
brain around.
top, but like you, I wouldn't be shocked if this horse does well. Talk about Catholic Edition.
Yeah, this is one where, this horse was wide all the way around there, took some money on debut, could take another step forward for Linda. Linda doesn't
a little
win.
slow last time.
Yeah, she's not, Linda doesn't have huge numbers first time out, but her numbers second time out significantly improved. She's 11% first time out in her career, 21% second time out. So this horse is probably going to take another step forward. Just a good alternative.
I agree with everything you said, and this horse can win, even though I've left her out. I am not taking horses that lost in that back-check race. Back-check broke 5-6 lengths behind the field and still won. And the second horse took money, and I think she ran third in her next start, maybe was second and ineffective. I get it. Everything you're saying is true.
Yep.
You may be right.
I hear you.
But I am not taking especially short-priced horses that lost that race because they should. And she still would have run the 59 buyer, but she should have run it losing by 6 lengths. So, and Backcheck didn't come back and run any better the next time, breaking a lot better in her next start. Practical Romance. We're going to show this horse's first race finishing third at Fairgrounds. I'm going to tell you, I don't love the 1 1/8 for this horse. It worries me a little bit. We saw Brittany Russell stretch out, albeit taking advantage of good conditions, doing that, stretching out a sprinter. But I like this horse getting out, and I'm kind of hoping that this horse is very forward in here, and maybe Johnny can just go to the lead.
Yeah, and especially from out there, at least if he doesn't make the lead, Johnny will get in that comfortable, stalking spot that made him the leading rider here at Saratoga of all time. So
1 1/8 worries me. I'll be honest. If it was a mile, I'd like this horse
But
more.
the thing is that you at least, when you have the maiden special weight aspect of dropping, at least you got a little bit of class edge to lean on when that extra 16th of a mile comes into the mix.
No killers in here. I'm going to use Alice Fantastic. First of all, I'm going to use a book where I'm a character in it, because the source is named for the book by the late, great Maggie Estep. I recommend people read it, and she's not going to make any money on it, so I'm not even shilling for a friend, because she's gone, but she was a friend, and it's a fun book. It's about a race. It's a mystery at Aqueduct. It's like a murder mystery at Aqueduct. A lot of fun. Yeah, it really is. I recommend it. And I'm not going to ignore this rider switch to Manny Franco. I think it's a substantial rider switch on a horse that I thought 2-back ran well enough to be contentious last time. Did at the gate, but didn't do much running last time. And always rooting for Andrew Lakeman as well.
There you go.
We good?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
That's it. Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for putting up with us for the last 45 minutes. Head on over to Naira Bets. No better place to play than Naira Bets. Use the promo code SPOT200. We'll match you with $200 of your initial deposit. We have the Saturday contest, $300 buy-in until post time tomorrow. Cash and seat prizes. All the information on nairabets.com/contest. Must play it through Naira Bets. We have a 10,000 hit and split between here and Colonial on the late pick fives, both here and there. Get involved in that. Opt in over at Naira Bets. What else do we got, Eddie? We got cross country big 5, 3 at Saratoga, 2 at Monmouth, races 6, 8 there. It'll culminate with the very, very interesting Amsterdam Stakes, the race number 9 here. Next, Taste of New York Pavilion, every Thursday through Sunday. Check out all the good stuff being made in New York over there. Always a fun visit. Did you get rid of the next one, Eddie? Don't show it. Don't show it. And last but not least, 1 to 4 on FS2. We're going to give you that. YouTube 4 to 6:30. Hoping to be on FS2 4 to 5 in that window. YouTube's easy. Head over to YouTube. Put in Naira. Check out the Naira YouTube page. A lot of good stuff there as well. But also go there and see the show live. You can stream it. Jonathan, thanks again.
I'm going to fish tonight, Andy.
Are you? Going all 3 nights or just tonight?
No, just one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take my first hit midway through the show today so I can get ready for it. I will not be attending Fish. I did see him at SPAC. I think the last time I saw him was at SPAC. I've seen him about 5 or 6 times. My friend Sean is very into them. I've seen Trey at Fairway. Does that count?
Counts for something, I think.
Nothing like running into rock stars in a supermarket in the Upper West Side, and absolutely nobody cares. Yeah. Many great things about New York City. Anyhow, thanks a lot. We're done. Frank Miramati is just getting started. He'll be up with the reprise, scratch and changes in just a few minutes.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps for our national anthem.